Good morning everybody, it's the 30th of April today and it's our learning journey lesson 4 for years 1 and 2. Our learning objective today is, can I describe a scientist? You might want to pause the video just here and have a think about what that word scientist means, to have a chat with somebody nearby. Okay, so I've included a definition just here and a very famous scientist on the left, double points if you can tell me who that is. And I've got the definition for the word scientist down here. It says, a person who is studying, that's a synonym for learning, a person who is studying or has expert knowledge of one or more of the natural or physical sciences. So that doesn't tell us a lot, does it? It tells us it's somebody who's studying, somebody who's learning, and someone has expert knowledge, and it says about, well, science. And if we're unsure as to what science is, and that's a bit of a tricky definition, isn't it? So I've included a video down here, a link to a video, let's hope it works, about what science is. Let's just pop it on. Okay, so this video is called What is Science? All right.
Right, Molly, let's do some science. Why? Because as scientists, we get to ask interesting questions about the world. Why? Because by asking questions like what, where, when, and why, we can test ideas and predict outcomes. Why? Because it helps us understand the world. That's science. Have you noticed that point? Why?
Okay, everybody. So I think they were saying there that the science is all about understanding the world, asking questions about the world, okay, and all the things that the world has in it. All right, so it's quite a big subject, isn't it? So a scientist is somebody who learns about and has expert knowledge about the world, all right, and all of its processes. Okay, so we're going to now move on to our first task today, everybody. Well, our only task. It's quite a big one today. So it says here, can I describe a scientist? And now if I scroll down a little bit, you can see an outline of a person. This person's not a girl or a boy, it could be a girl or a boy, because this person's going to be the outline of a scientist, and we know that scientists can be girls or boys, whoever they like to be. Okay, so this is a scientist outline I've got in the middle here. You may choose to make your scientist look like yourself, because you're all going to be scientists over the coming weeks, everybody. So I've got over here my outline of a scientist, and then next to it I've got the word, should we sound it out? Skills. Skills. Careful the consonant blend at the beginning there. Skills, okay? And underneath I've just written a sentence starter. A scientist is good at. Okay, so first we need to think about, if you're somebody, if you're a scientist and you're looking at and learning about the world, what skills do you think you're going to have to be good at? Which skills do you think you're going to have? A scientist is good at. So I'm going to put here, a scientist is good at. I'll start you off, everybody. Let's choose a different colour, shall we, so we don't get confused. A scientist is good at, there we go, looking. I think a scientist is going to have to be really good at observing or looking at the world around them to try and understand it. If they're walking around with their eyes closed, they wouldn't be a very good scientist, would they? So looking. Okay. I'm going to add here noticing as well. So a scientist might look at something quite normal, but then they might notice, because they've been looking really carefully, they might notice something about it that leads them to think something. So looking, noticing. I'm going to put another one down here. That's a tricky one for our lots of our year 1 friends, but let's give it a go. So scientists good at, and I've got here predicting. And predicting, well, do you know what it means? Predicting just means having a guess at what might happen. So, for example, the little girl in that video noticed that the duck had those webbed feet, and so she predicted that it could be a good swimmer. Absolutely, so predicting. Now, children, I'm sure that there are about 10 different things you can think of to put in that column just there. So I'll leave that with just those 3, okay? Now again, your piece of paper, goodness children, you might decide that you're going to lay, if you have an enormous sheet of paper, you might lie down on that great big sheet of paper and get an adult or somebody to draw around you, and then you can write the skills along the outside. I don't have a piece of paper that's that big in my flat, so I'm just going to stick on here for now. But if you want to do this on a piece of paper instead, that's absolutely fine. It's just an idea, okay? All right, over here I've got the heading attributes. Now attributes just means something that you're good at, okay? You guys have got absolutely tons of attributes, don't you? Let's have a think about which attributes a scientist should have. So I think a scientist should be very careful. A scientist should be very careful. Like if Miss Parsons or Miss Lyons says, "Oh, can you read that carefully?" It means try not to make any errors and look really carefully. See, double check and see that you haven't made any errors. So careful, because can you imagine if a scientist was doing an experiment or looking at something? They need to be very careful. Okay. I'm going to put another word in here, and you might have read this during our whole class read this week, everybody. A scientist is patient. Good grief, everybody. I've not done many experiments, but when I have, it has really tested my patience, because sometimes in an experiment you need to wait. You need to wait very patiently. Sometimes the effects that you want to see, they don't happen in an instant. They might happen overnight. You might have to wait a week to see it. So these scientists might have to be quite patient individuals, okay? All right, I'm going to leave that there, everybody, because I'm sure you can think of loads more. Now, children, please do challenge yourselves. If you want to put these in sentences, a scientist is good at looking, and that's absolutely fine. If you just want to list them, that's no problem at all, okay? And by the end, you should have a lovely poster of your outline of a scientist in the middle. Again, if you want to make that look like you, that's fine, because again, you're going to be scientists during this learning journey. And then do your you can do 2 columns on each side, lists of skills and attributes, or if you want to turn those into sentences, that's fine with me. All right. Okay, so finally today, everybody, I've got another video just here, and I'll just pop the link just here for you, everybody. Here we go. Ooh. Let's have a look, and this might just give us a little bit more information to help us when we do our person today and make our lists. Okay, so have a listen out here, see if you can find any attributes or anything that you might like to include on your poster. Okay, so there's a clue for you down here already. It says science is all about asking questions, so that's something your scientists can be good at, isn't it? Let's have a look.
Science is all about asking questions, like where does mud come from? Neat observation, Molly. Every time it rains, the dog gets muddy. Why is that? I think the rain mixes with the soil and makes muddy fields. Okay, how can we test that? Of course, experiment with water and soil. But how will we know it's correct? Just do another test without water. So next time it rains, we can predict the park will be muddy, and we can come prepared.
Excellent, everybody. So scientists, they have to do lots of experimenting, they have to do lots of testing, they have to do lots of predicting. And did you hear that bit about, at the end, about how a scientist has to be prepared? That's a great attribute, isn't it? A scientist has to be prepared. Excellent, everybody. Jolly well done. I'm really looking forward to seeing your scientist posters today. See you soon.